Hi, I'm Chris Ball of Mashpee TV, here with another Mashpee update. With me today is Zach Seabury, our health agent in the town of Mashpee. Zach, thanks for coming today. We really appreciate your information you're going to give us. I'm in phase one of our wastewater / sewer project here in the town of Mashpee.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you as the health agent and the health department, what do I have to do as a homeowner to hook up to the sewer and inspections, permitting, licensed utility installer? Can you run us through that?
All right, so when you get your stake in front of your yard, it doesn't have to be right away that you have to get the licensed installer yet, because you do have time, because we still have to hook up the sewers to the sewer plant and build the sewer plant. But the recommendation right now is to call a few licensed utility installers that we have on file. We have roughly 15 to 20. Go through a few of them, I'd say a minimum 3, get some quotes for them to come out and see what it'll be to connect, if they need to move the stake or not. And once you talk with them, they'll come to our department, pull the file, see what type of system you have, where the pipe is going, what needs to be done. If the system's out in the front, easy shot. If the system's out in the back, they'll have to figure out how to get it from the back of the house around and to the main pipe. So when you get your installer, or you call a couple of them, you can either call our department and get the information for them, so that way you can talk with us and I can explain to you what your system is at that time. So when you're talking with them, you'll have more information on what they're going to be discussing with you. All of our installers are licensed installers now. They install septic systems. They have to go through our test. They have insurance. They all have to be vetted before we even put them on the list for you to call. If they're not on our list, don't call them. They're not licensed by us. We don't know who they are. We may know who they are, but they're not.
Just let me stop you for 1 second. So this list is, I believe, on the website. If you go to the health department on the town hall website, and there's a list there. So they're looking for the list of, and correct me if I'm wrong, local licensed utility installers.
Correct. What you do is go on to the main page, the main Board of Health page. You'll see my face on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, you'll see, I think it's the third click down, is the contractors list. Click on that, and then it'll give you a list of all the types of contractors that we have. Pick the LUI, Licensed Utility Installer. That's the list you want to get. And then go through, check a couple of them. We have their names, we have their companies, and you can even go and Google and see their reviews on what they've done before, because they are companies out there. What you'll want to do is, once you get that person, like I said, they will contact us, because they'll want to figure out what they're going to be doing before they give you a quote. So they'll contact us, see what's in the ground there. But you can do your own homework too and come and see us and see what you have in the ground, so that way you know what they're talking about. So they'll come, you'll hire them, they'll give you the scope of work they're doing. They will take care of everything from that point. They'll pull the permit, they'll schedule with us, they'll schedule with the plumbing inspector. If they need to schedule with a plumber to reroute the plumbing inside, they'll work with a plumber, or they'll ask you to call a plumber. But they will walk you through everything you need to do, and my staff will be available every day of the week in case you have any questions for that, if you think that they're leading you in the wrong direction. And we will be available to come out and take a look at what's going on.
Okay, so it's my understanding that there's sort of a jurisdictional, maybe a bad term, of 10 feet from the building. What's that all about?
So in the state code, plumbing has jurisdiction of 10 feet outside the house, and the health department has jurisdiction 10 feet further. So when it's within
10 after 10 feet out to the left.
Out to the street.
Okay.
And then once it gets to the street, that's the sewer commission area. So the plumbing inspector and I will be working in tangent together. We know this is a huge project, so we'll be working together. So technically, we're not going to have a jurisdictional phase until it gets inside the house. Inside the house, the plumbing interior is strictly plumbing inspector. I'm not a licensed plumber. None of my staff is a licensed plumber, so we do not touch that. But I am a registered sanitarian. I design septic systems. I know all the engineering of it. So the outside is where I'll come into play. But we'll be working together so that way we can get inspections done faster. So that way it's not just my office, it'll be my office and their office.
All right, great. What else do we need to know?
So from my understanding, there's questions about what happens to your system after. This is why the installer has to come and see what you have in the ground existing right now. And it's good for you to have that information so that way you know if they're digging in the right spot or anything. So you have a couple of options. The leaching field isn't really a concern because it's only a couple inches deep. It'll never collapse and water will just go through it. The main concern is getting rid of the tank or the pit, because eventually the cement will corrode and you will collapse over the years. And you don't want to build anything on top of it if it can't handle that. So the options is you can have it pumped out. No matter what, they all has to be pumped out and cleaned. You can have it pumped out and crushed, and fill can be put into that spot, which is usually the easiest way to do it. The other option is to have it completely removed. This is a very difficult process to do. You have to remove it. You have to get it on the truck. They have to take that to another location to be disposed of properly. It can't just be thrown into a pit or anything like that. And then the third option is you puncture the bottom of the tank after it's been cleaned, so that way no water can go into it or anything, and you fill it. It can be filled with sand, it can be filled with cement, it can be filled with a certain compound that they make that fills these. When they fill it, you want to have all 3 lids depending on the tank. Nowadays, tanks have 3 lids. If it has 2 lids, you want to have both lids open to fill from both sides, so that way you know you get the whole tank full and it can't be crushed by, say, a deck footing if it's ever put on or anything like that. But if you do keep it in the ground, if you ever want to expand the size of your house, you are going to have to get rid of it. So you'll have to pay for it twice, because you filled it once, and then you're going to have a removal company come and remove an even heavier tank because now it's full of cement. And if it is full of cement, there's no way you're getting through a 1,500-gallon box of cement.
They're going to need a big truck to get it out.
Yeah, so you definitely need to think of what your future use might be, because if it is 10 feet off of your house, that really puts a lot of restrictions on if you want to build on that side of the house.
That's pretty good information to plan ahead.
But that's if you want to do with a crawl space or a basement. If you're doing a slab, you can just lay it on top of there. But there are other engineering problems that can occur with that, because now you have a 1,500-gallon cement block in the ground and you put a slab on top of it. If any settling happens with that slab, it's not going to happen on that square. It's going to happen around that square, and then you'll have a deformed floor.
So it almost sounds like the best choice is to remove it.
The best choice, I believe,
if you're planning any expansion.
Best choice in my mind is to crush it and then fill in the hole. Crush it in place and then just fill in that location. Because if you ever do dig it out or you need to put anything there, it's easier to dig because it's not a full concrete tank with rebar around it. It's just the way they crush it, it just gets destroyed to little gravel.
Okay, but you did say one of the options would be to fill it with sand.
You can fill it with sand. When filling it with sand, though, you have to make sure that you have both tanks open. You can fill it on each side, but you have to get that sand to the top. So it has to be done correctly if done. But yeah, you can do it with sand. And then I guess in the future, you could just suck the sand out and then remove the tank. Unless you have equipment that's strong enough to lift 1,500 gallons of sand.
Okay. All right, what else?
So once that process is done and you figure out where the pitch is going to go, the installer will contact us and say, all right, this is what the plan is. I'll review the plan and look at the pitch and make sure that we have a minimum of a 2% slope going from the out of the house to the tank or to the pipe. Now, it can be down to 1%, but depending on the length, a 2% slope would be perfect. But from my understanding, the main line is going to be so far down that it's going to be a perfect pitch no matter where you are, roughly 17% pitch, which, as you know, crap will go down. And yeah.
Now, how about cleanouts along the way? Are people going to be asked to put cleanouts? Say you're, like my home might be 40 feet from the lateral.
Yep. So with the cleanouts, I have made a decision that within a couple feet of your house, of the foundation, there'll be a cleanout right there. So that way, if there is a backup in the line, you can clean out there instead of going into your basement. I don't know if many people look at their sewer line in the basement, but it is a pipe that comes down with a butt that sticks out.
Right.
That's a cleanout. You open that butt, though, everything's going to pour out inside your house. So we're having a clean out in the front of that, at the beginning of the line, so that way it'll go straight out and you can just throw the hose down there and push out whatever needs to be done, or your ready rooter equipment. Then at the line where it connects, there'll be another clean out installed by the Sewer Commission, I believe, or I have to verify with them who's going to install that clean out. And that clean out will be at, I believe, every single tie-in to the main line. So that way, if there is a clog in the main line, they can just go to that location and work on it from that spot.
So every lateral will have a clean out?
Yes, yes.
All right. Anything else?
I really want to reiterate, check with more companies. Don't just pick one because you know who they are, or you've just heard their name, or you've just seen their commercial. Check with a couple companies. You can call us and see if we have any complaints on them or if we've had any problems with them. We cannot give you any recommendations. We can't say, yes, they're bad, or yes, they're good. We can only tell you how we've been with them. Once you get your prices and the scope of work they're going to do, you're always welcome. I want to make sure everybody knows that they're always welcome to come and talk to us. 70% of my job is education to the public of what's going on with your public health. And right now in Mashpee, this is one of the biggest informational things that people will want. And I am always available and will never void from or shy away from answering questions.
Well, that's great. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
We also really appreciate you coming today and giving us some more information. And, we're going to continue with these updates until it's completed, maybe 20 years from now. But, if anytime something new comes up, we certainly welcome you to come back and would appreciate it.
I'm always willing to come and talk with you.
Great. All right. So this is Chris Ball from Mashpee TV once again. Going to thank Zach Seabury for coming in today, and we'll see you next time.